I have put the title, Established It Is Not a Case of Them and Us. And we're just going to stay here for a little bit because I think there's a real tendency for people to believe it's one or the other. What's your thoughts on this?
I completely disagree. I don't think it should be us versus them. I don't think it should be like that with any of the therapies, treatments and therapies that different people use. I've always been a big advocate of multimodal approach to pain management. And yes, multimodal is absolutely different types of medications, because they all work in different ways, and all of the things that you guys advocate for, the lifestyle changes and home changes, that kind of thing. But I think multimodal also can include all of the other things. So certainly with herbs, like I said, it's a huge part of what I do, but I'm not using it as an alternative to medication.
Right.
And I would say that I don't know any herbal vets that are using it as an alternative.
Yes.
All of us are using it as a complementary therapy. And I think that they balance really nicely. So when we're using medication, we can use herbs alongside to optimize that medication and to have some other effects. So I always tell people that for me, using herbal medicine fills the gaps that conventional medicine leaves. So go on. I'll just
yeah. And I think it's worth saying here a few more regulatory stuff. So we as vets are bound to a code of conduct. And within our code of conduct, animals' welfare is absolutely paramount. And we are instructed to work on an evidence-based basis and also to follow something called recognized veterinary practice. And that means that we have approaches that have evidence and are established to be effective for the best of that animal in our care, in effect and safety. So choosing to do the complete opposite to recognize veterinary practice is a little bit of a dangerous game, really. Mm-hmm. So what I would say is that I personally think if this is within your area of wish, this is your area of want, do bear in mind that the vets that you're dealing with, they are bound by this code of conduct, and respect that. And hopefully the vets that you deal with also respect the code of conduct. And as Chelsea is saying, combine the two approaches rather than picking one or the other, if that's the way. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I get lots of people contacting me, expecting me to be able to get their pets off of medication. And the very first thing I say before I even do an assessment, because there's no point in us getting together and spending lots of time and money on things if we're not going to see eye to eye on this. And I always say, the odds are I'm not taking your pet off of medication. If anything, I'm probably going to put them on it.
Yeah.
And I will also look at herbs. We will also look at optimizing that treatment. But especially when it comes to pain, you really don't have herbal options. And that's not really how we use herbal medicine anyway. I don't look at herbs and say, right, your pet's on an anti-inflammatory. I'm going to take an anti-inflammatory herb and take them off of the medication. It doesn't work that way. That's not how anti-inflammatory herbs work. One of the things that we teach the vets on the course that we have when we start talking about analgesics, pain relief, and anti-inflammatories, a lot of the vets that we get are a lot of the sort of chronic pain type vets. Yeah. And everyone's excited to learn about that. And we go, just so you guys know, we're not going to give you anything that's going to replace any of the medication that you're using. There's absolutely nothing. There are herbs that may reach those sorts of pain relieving levels, but those are like the classified herbs that only incredibly qualified and very specific training type herbalists are allowed to get in very small quantities. What we can get even as herbal practitioners, sort of your basic herbal practitioners, is not going to touch your things like your gabapentin, your Metacam, that sort of thing. They just don't work the same way. So yes, especially when it comes to pain management, medication is always the top of my list. And then we sort of fill in the other blanks, or we start to add other things in to help support that. The other thing to recognize as well when it comes to medication versus herbs from a chronic pain point of view is herbs